Welcome back, my delinquents. We have a vshojo member in the news or in the drama cycle, whatever you want to call this, today, and it brings up some interesting points. If you haven't heard of Froot, she is one of the vshojo members, and she has been in some dramas in the past, and I'm not going to touch on most of them, but this one seems odd to say, and it all stems up from her releasing a doc about the previous abuse she had suffered under her husband/boyfriend. But this mixes in with a very old rumor about her cheating on her husband with multiple men while he was in the army, or while he was deployed in the army. And I'm just going to say this straight away before we go into this. I cannot find an actual source on this, if she did or she didn't. Some people are saying she admitted it to herself on Twitter, but I can't actually find anything about this. So I'm going to assume and just label this as rumor. It's a rumor because I can't find actually anything about it. And it seems to be just a rumor. And there is also a rumor that her ex spread that. And there is a rumor that one of her exes spread this to ruin her reputation, etc. I can't actually find any major proof to this. I went on Reddit, I went on Twitter, and it just seems to be a lot of people making up their own narrative per se. We're going to see that theme a lot here, but we're going to dive into this document because this is going to be split up into two parts. Summarization of Froot's document about her relationship with her boyfriend turned husband and what happened during that time. And then we're going to talk about the strange reaction from the internet, a very specific section of the internet that seems to be blaming her for this and just doubling down on she cheated or cheated after this. And they seem to be just making whatever narrative they want from it because each part of it seems to have a different story. And I'm not going to say she's completely innocent because I don't know that, but there seems to be no proof that she is. And no matter what, if someone cheats, it doesn't mean you get to abuse them. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to put abusing someone is worse than cheating. I know, crazy, but that's just how I'm going to say it. Cheating is bad. Abusing someone's worse. So let's get into this document. You don't have to believe me. Let's see it. Here we go, guys. We're jumping in deep into this Froot. I'm not 100% how to say her name, so I apologize. The Lich VTuber from vshojo. They're a long-term vshojo member, and they dropped this doc around the 19th of September, 18th if you're American probably, because it was dropped around 11 a.m. here. And it's gotten like 10 million views, 20k like saves, and a lot of prominent VTubers, especially women, has commented on this because abuse is something a lot of people can relate to. At some point in time, most people in the world has been mistreated in some way. So we're going to go into this first and give a bit of a look at this. It is a very long document, so I will abbreviate parts. I will link this in the bio. I don't always do that depending on what it's about, but I'll do it for this one so you can read it yourself and judge for yourself. So I will mainly be summarizing to an extent some of these sections because they're very in detail about the abuse. And I am going to say, I think some of these messages are on Facebook. Oh, there we go. So Facebook's archive system. That's why I didn't recognize it, because I've never seen the Facebook archive feature. There we go. I must have missed that top part. All evidential screenshots were taken using Facebook archive feature. You must read from the bottom up per screenshot. I was reading it from the top up before. I'm not arranging individual messages for the sake of reading convenience. All I will do is remove personal information. This document includes mentions of domestic abuse. See, this is actually, very serious. Domestic abuse, emotional abuse, controlling, and from what she mentions is when I was 19, she had an abusive partner. Very young, and sadly not a unique tale. How did I end up stuck in an abusive relationship? And this is a thing a lot of people don't understand, so I'm going to go into this before we read into it, is that a lot of people don't realize abusive people don't start off abusive. They slowly sneak you in until you're heavily reliant on them, usually. So it's not usually a choice, and sometimes it's very difficult to leave. Obviously, people that are strong enough do leave eventually, but it is a difficult thing, especially if the person has successfully manipulated you into a very disadvantaged situation, like here. Abusers don't start out the door with their behavior. They pretend to care about you and act like a good person so you don't leave. They start feeding you their abuse bit by bit until you're completely destroyed and unable to leave, locked in and nowhere else to go. They use an emotional blackmail and manipulate you to eventually fully depend on them and make you believe you can't do anything without them. They make you feel incapable of being a functional human and you will believe them. Once you're in this stage, the entire relationship becomes complete control over every aspect of your life. Who you talk to, who your friends are, what you wear, how do you look, how you talk, your opinions, interests, beliefs, everything. This is why a lot of people say that a very common red flag to look out for in a relationship, if someone is telling you to ditch all your friends, family, etc., it can be one of the biggest signs to spot abuse. Because it's one of the bigger power plays they need to make to get control over you. He would constantly degrade me, insult me, lie to me. I tried to leave him on numerous occasions, but he kept threatening to commit enslavement on me. That is also another tactic. Next to like begging and making false promises, etc. A lot of like to get someone back in a relationship. Harm is one of them. He emotionally blackmailed me, manipulated me, isolated me from family, forced me to develop a dependence on them. I've seen people suffer from this firsthand, where they feel like that they're the only person that can calm them down, the only person they can rely on, and they are just lost without them. And they just, slowly the person doesn't realize that abuser is actually making them worse, so they are more reliant on them. I wore the same set of pajamas for weeks. I didn't move out of bed, and I lived around trash. He caused me to become depressed. I'm gonna preface that I'm doing much better now. Green is me, blue is him. Okay, so apparently this is a incident to highlight his like washy behavior that I went over it. I'm not gonna go fully into it, but pretty much he was flying over to America to see him because Froot's from the UK and he's American, a couple years older than her. She stopped over in Sweden and a man assaulted her, and this is the conversation that took place after she woke up to being assaulted and then got in contact with him. I'm really scared. I fell asleep on a soft couch. I was in a quiet room in the airport, and I woke up to a guy sexually touching me. He then started to follow me, so I ran straight for the women's toilet, which is where I am now. I could have been R-worded. What do I do? It's 3:30. It's 3:40, and my train is at 12. I'm stuck at this airport, and I don't want to see that guy ever again. This is why women scared for everyone, but it's why women really dislike sleeping in layover sections or having huge layovers, because as anyone would know, it's a bit scary just sleeping in public, but especially for a woman. My phone is at 17%. I can't find a Swedish universal plug. I've reported to police and they have identified the man. My phone's gonna die. They caught him. Also, my cable might not even work, which means I might not get in touch with you until I actually see you. I hope I can get my cable to charge my phone. See you later. My phone's gonna turn off now. Sad face. Oh, frick. I bought a charger. It works so well. Take bad news in different ways, and it's a case of sad face. Yeah, a bit awkward. That's good. How are you doing? I've been better. I'm glad things were resolved. I feel violated. Now Sweden forever remind me of the unfortunate. I'm just relaxing for now. The police were really kind to me. Were you in a public area, babe? Yeah, there was even a guy fast asleep and totally oblivious. I went to go lie down and sleep on a couch. The airport was quiet, almost dead. All the people sleeping on the benches and such. But he decided to follow me. Just a cringe face. This all happened between 3 to 5 a.m. I remember to keep all the details for the police. Very odd response from someone whose girlfriend just got hurt. I don't know what I expected, but at least the me in 22 expected more. I would say something more, make sure you're okay, make sure you have your flight back, make sure everything's worked out. The big reason why him reacting this way was initially because later on he would use the same example of how much he's done for me. Yes, I have read ahead in this, and he brings up multiple times through their fights that to quote what he said, who got assaulted? You. Who helped you through and did so much for you? Me. That's what he says in regards to this being everything he did for her, which is a very odd way to phrase it. Even if you did a lot for someone, it's very odd. Yeah, who got molesters at the airport because of the unplanned tickets I got you, but who was instantly there to give you some sort of help and advice at moment's notice? That's right, me. As you can see, it wasn't exactly instant, so it's a little delulu. I keep on going, but when I reverse the list to see what you've done for me, when you've been there for me, you know, basic responsibilities as a wife, let's see. You stopped me from killing myself when I was divorcing you. Left your family just for me because of flew to America before I deployed. They're notable things I remember. Now currently I'm back to wanting to kill myself because you're not there for me. You won't be there if I need you on it in a moment's notice, because apparently the internet is the ultimate barrier for you when it's never been one for me. Back to wanting to divorce myself from you. This is such a weird conversation, because if they're getting divorced, I don't know if that's what he's saying here or he's wording it weird, but why is he's relying on her heavily to solve her problems, but this is a common thread we're going to get through here is he constantly brings up that he will hurt himself if she doesn't do what she's told. Seems to be a theme here when he seems to be bullying her continuously, do certain sexual acts. It's not really said what it is, but some people alluded, or she alluded to in some other documents or in phrasing in here, that he wanted to bring another woman into the relationship and she didn't want to. But this is not the only act he seemed to have bullied her for through the relationship, which isn't particularly uncommon in abusive relationships. A lot of abusers want to power play in all of these situations, so you'll do everything they want. And he goes on for a long time, has him trying to convince her to say yes when she said no. And no means no, my brothers. I know, crazy, my brothers, my sisters, a no's a no. A no's a no. Especially, there's one thing going, oh, are you sure? But do you see how long this goes for? Like, take the no. And then he threatens to cheat on her if she doesn't do it. You know, the dickhead playbook in here of, if you don't do it, I'll cheat on you. And it's all your fault. Anyone who's dated has probably heard this before, unfortunately, from someone. And as anyone that has heard anything about relationships would know, ultimatums are generally bad for relationships. Yeah, it is generally bad. And this continues. This is all still trying to pressure her into a sex act. And you may be asking, why did she stay? That's the thing. A lot of relationships that the abuser keeps pushing relies on a sunken cost fallacy. We all do it in relationships. A lot of us stay way longer than there's any reason to stay. And a lot of people like this will beat you down and think you don't deserve anyone else. No one else is going to like you. You're so ugly. You're so hideous. You're so pathetic. No one will ever like you ever again. And they're a saint for liking you. And that's kind of what they do. It's kind of browbeating you over and over and over and over and over again. So as soon as you stay way too long, you're in a worse and worse situation to leave. And at some point, she becomes more financially dependent on him in some ways. The wording's a little weird here. I don't know how much they live together on and off here, or she goes back, because there is a period where she needs to finish uni, and he is pressuring her to leave uni with a year left to come live with him at the military base. And something I want to underline here, she's 22 and he's been married before, and she's his second wife. They get married at 20. So he's 22 and he's had 2 wives. And apparently, he wanted to get married because he wanted to keep the family housing at a military base, which is really odd that he wanted to get married to benefit himself, pretty much. And there seems to, yes, you are being selfish. She pulls the whole, her taking responsibility for her body, because no one can make you do something with your body you don't want to do, guys. Don't do it. If you don't want to do it, F them off. You know what I mean? No one gets to tell you what you're comfortable with. And saying you're selfish for not wanting to do it, it's disgusting. And you should never put up with that kind of behavior. I don't think I read this one. I never actually say no. I've always said no. You never listened. Yeah, you disappointed me too. Keep an eye out for changes in my behavior then. I won't go for extra mile for you if you won't for me. And I'll extend my statement of love if they don't do the sexual acts they want. Yeah. Classy. Someone who loves you won't deprive you of something. They'll at least let you have a workaround, but you won't even do that. What? A workaround? That's selfish. So pretty much, if he loved her, you would either do it or let him cheat. What? This all started as a joke. I never imagined you would actually say no. That's why I'm most upset about what's happening. If it ain't missionary, it ain't authorized by army regulations, I'll let my fear control me now. What the hell does that even mean? And I don't think the army cares how you sleep with someone. I'm gonna be honest. The dude seems up his own ass about this stuff, or just using the army as a reason to make these crazy demands. And this seems to be another one where he's threatening self-harm again. And this goes on for days and days, and that is something that is a big part of this, and I wanted to go into too about abuse is a tactic commonly used. It's also used in torture, where the person goes at you for days at a time and also tries to stop you from sleeping. Because when you are just harassed, not allowed to sleep, etc., your mind does not work correctly, and you're more likely to make rash decisions or do anything just to get rest. So they do this to bully forgiveness out of you, or a yes. And it's actually a form of torture, crazy enough, but it is very common in abuse situations. Because that's also why abusers tend to want their victims to move in with them as quickly as possible. Because they will have complete control of your life. You can't just walk away, you have to wait. Because of leases and stuff like that. So that's why you should also be wary if someone's trying to rush you to move in with them. Okay, there used to be a weird thing down here where I'll still leave you if you choose not to have kids with me in the future. Which seems very odd, seeing they're only a year into the relationship. But yeah, like, some people may break up, but the wording is very odd. If we aren't working together towards our common goals, then this isn't a relationship. If I can't provide you with my presence over summer because I can't afford to, then I borrow money from a bank. If you don't want to give up blank, then I'll try it with someone else. I don't know what that is. That's how it works. Or you just put yourself in a position where you are open-minded. I only get one woman in the world. I don't know, some of his logic is very, like, over the place here. I would also like to mention having children and getting married are two of the biggest ways an abuser will manipulate the partner into not being able to escape, alongside isolating them from their friends and family so the victim has nobody else to turn to and cannot run away. Yes, it's common because children is like a permanent tie, especially in the lore. So keep that in mind, guys. Awkward laugh. Keep that in mind that you have to see that person no matter what. Because no matter how abusive your wife or husband is, if you have a child together, the court will make you interact. It's annoying and frustrating, but yes. So this is a common tactic so they can stay in your life forever. More threats of leaving her if he doesn't get to cheat or doesn't do what he said. I'll fuck women to be happy. What the fuck is this? And then she just says, be with you if you fuck another woman, which I find very interesting in here, as a lot of people are taking this because there's a rumor she cheated on her husband in the past to say she deserves this, but it seems from the beginning he was threatening to cheat on her a lot, and there's absolutely no proof he didn't follow through on any of this. So I find it's the double standard here but I think most people posting around trying to give her shit for this didn't actually read this document. You either deserve my dick or you don't. Who talks like this? And her just saying she's gonna leave him if he bangs another woman. And she goes into here that she has dyslexia, and he would constantly use her dyslexia as a way to call her stupid, dumb, lazy, etc., to make her feel beneath him. That is very common. A lot of abusers go from people from either previously abused backgrounds, people with disabilities, people with self-worth issues. These are like targets to abusers because they already have insecurities to easily narrow in on. And unfortunately, guys, I know this is sad. If you have any of these problems yourself, you are at a higher rate to be picked by people like this. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, that you need to be more careful because people like this will come at you. They'll see these little chips in your armor, these little weaknesses, and just see a way to take advantage of it. Not saying that's everyone out there. Don't take it as I'm saying that 100%. I'm just saying people like this. So here he kind of like makes the dyslexia about him and how he doesn't want a stupid wife or something. Really degrading and just mean. Very vain. And him just saying you can't use dyslexia as an excuse for bad behavior. It's like in her not remembering things. And as someone who, I have chronic fatigue syndrome, my memory isn't great because of it, because when you're tired, you can have Alzheimer's-like symptoms, and that's what I get from it. And I have had this in the past myself, where people say, oh, well, you can't use that, you don't remember on chronic fatigue. It's like, that's why I don't remember. I can't help if that's why I don't remember. But a lot of people do act like this with disabilities, unfortunately. This is a section where she watched anime, Yuri, Citrus, and he got like homophobic and was like being secretly gay, and then somehow bring up the military, saying the military was going to be on his ass because she watched a gay anime. I'm not American, but I really don't think the military cares that much what your wife looks up, because I feel like a lot of guys would be screwed if they looked at the kind of porn they watched. It's like, no, they're watching girl-on-girl action. Eject him from the military. They would lose half the army. And this goes into the section how this completely blows up into a call, into back and forwards and complete drama, and how he just blows up situations for days and days at a time, which is very common for abusers. And this is back and forth between them and the mental health, etc., where he doesn't seem to care about her and only about his sex life, which is Dickhead 101, where they only seem to care about their dick. This goes into a bit about their marriage and how it was a marriage kind of convenience. Like, he kind of got into it because he said he needed to get married so he could keep his home. It's a very weird situation. And she said yes because she was, I think, living with him from the wording here at the time. And she felt like she had no way to get home and she was already trapped. But also, I think there's a little bit of like sauce, like her family was already against her because of everything he pushed her to do. So he felt like if she was already so far in, it made no sense to say no, kind of thing. Like, she had lost so much already, and I do kind of know that worked in the brain. And the whole idea is that she's homeless in a foreign country if he decides to throw her out because she said no to marry him. And the idea that he would lose his home if he didn't have a wife because something to do with how the US military works, but who knows. I have heard things similar to this, so I don't know if he's 100% there or was using it as an excuse. Someone in the comments with far more information about the American military can clear that up if they have it there. I would appreciate it. Abusive 101, she wasn't allowed to have friends, she wasn't allowed to talk to people outside of him, etc. This is very, very common with abusers. No friends, barely any family, you can't talk to anyone outside of them, and they are the most important thing ever. Trying to join bank accounts when we hadn't been together for long. This is also abuse tactic. Get hold of the money. You can't do anything without the money. You want to spend their money. So many horror stories of this, even when they move in together and joint bank accounts. Unless you're getting a wife, guys, or you have the world's biggest trust, just make a joint account, but keep your own accounts. Never get rid of your own accounts. This is very common. Next, it's very good to have, like, you have your own money. In general, it's good for everyone involved. But partner should not be able to access and withdraw all your money and leave you with nothing. Especially in a relationship that doesn't have long-term trust. Yes, so she's completely fine here with going, oh hell no, like, and being like about it, because it's a very scary thing, someone giving access to all your money and your information. And this takes back to what we're seeing here when she was at home, so they weren't even married, they weren't even living together yet. The relationship had just begun, and I was living with my parents while studying at university. My mum was in control of my bank account at the time. This also highlighting how young she was, because she probably still has the 50-50 account, because a lot of parents sign that they have 50% control of accounts that they make for their kids between like 12 and 17. So she probably has that similar bank account she first set up with her mum. I wanted to run it by my mum first. As I declined, he then took his frustration out on me. It's crazy. Imagine trying to combine two foreign bank accounts because he wants control of it. It's very odd. Like, if they were like a marriage partnership, but this is at the beginning of the relationship. I told you, it already takes two to tango. If you're not with me on finances, romance, work ethic, cleanliness, and obviously you're not, and that could be any of those. Clearly, finances will sink the relationship faster than the Titanic. I think also this relationship seemed to have moved very quickly, seeing they met around 19-ish and were married at 20. He's moved like a whirlwind. I've not decided I don't want your help at all. I know we were fucked. This is very weird that he's trying to claim it. He wants to help her with finances by combining their bank accounts, but he could just send her money if that was really the only thing he wanted to do. There is no real reason for them to combine joint bank accounts. Making a bank account slow. Oh my god, this is where he just tried to pull it onto her and say it's weird that she wants to take the bank account slow, but if anyone who's had a long-term relationship before probably knows this, even when you get married, the last thing you do is bank accounts. That is literally the last big commitment of your life. It might not even be marriage, the last big commitment. Just before kids, ideally. You've done it the right way. Combining bank accounts is almost more serious than the marriage half the time. I tell you what she told me, though. She said that you are controlling, it will get worse the longer a relationship progresses. So her mum does weigh in a lot, and this is obviously why he tries to get her entire family cut out. That he's abusive and controlling. And he tries to get her to cut off her mum. Abuses her for leaving her computer for long periods of time without contacting her. Long periods, like go make cups of noodles. He must have been in dire need, obviously. This is the part where he tries to talk down to her and calls her stupid. Like, I can do things on my own, because poor little you gets her feelings hurt. Okay, if a guy or a girl talks to you like this guy, my delinquents, run for the hills. Don't let anyone talk to you like this. Give me their Discord. I will break up with them for you, okay? I'm doing a breakup service. I will dump anyone you want, guys. I swear to God. Swear. Whenever you get into a conversation about the fact that I can't struggle to do something, you're always saying how you're fucking better. It's not a one-time thing at all. Perhaps I am, because you like to look better than everyone else. Perhaps I like it when you come to me for help so you don't waste 40 minutes of your life playing the fool. Who the talks like this? I'm not... Also, if anyone types like this, please get better at typing this. If this is such a douchey way to talk. Mikey coming to me for help after you ignored me for 40 minutes. So more and more just him talking down to her and just calling her stupid. And so many messages like the same thing. Ridiculous. And I saw some people trying to say the only abuse she got was she got kicked out of the house. So they just took one little part and run with it. Welcome to the internet, I guess, where they just take one little headline and go, see, that person I hate is just whinging about nothing. This is like one of her points. He kicked me out of this house with nothing but clothes I was wearing. I was in the States and he was mad at me, so he kicked me out of his house. All I had were the clothes I was wearing and my phone. I couldn't drive. I was unfamiliar with the area, alone in another country, far away from my home while he was having a tantrum in his house. This is because he took me to a shooting range and I just wanted to watch him shoot and not participate. He was furious that I was reluctant to shoot his gun and refused to speak to me for 2 days. He embarrassed me in public in front of his friends over something so minor. Yeah. Also huge, another red flag, guys. One, next, never trust someone who'll put you in danger and throw you out. I had someone I went on like wait with literally try to lock me in their car. Red flag. But this is the same thing. They have no care. When someone tries to tell you the truth about seriously, guys, because he's telling the truth. He doesn't care about her safety here. And I'm mainly saying this. I'm not like shaming her for not noticing this. A lot of people, especially young people, and that's why abusers try to focus on the very young, because they think they can manipulate them. And they're not always wrong on this, because they have a lot to learn, because they are young and they should have the time to learn. But these are all humongous red flags. Same with getting you in front of friends or relatives, or willing to throw tantrums in public. If they're willing to do it in public, what they're willing to do in private is far worse. Also, you don't want to spend your life making excuses for another person. It is no way to live. To be saying, I'm sorry, he did this, he did that, or he's embarrassed everything, or he ruined this. You don't want to be doing that. It's not a way to be happy. Years have been something I associate to negative memories now. There are so many positive memories too, though. Nobody to go to in America, no family, no friends, you can't even drive. We had an argument and you kicked me out of your house. I don't know what I was doing. That's just you. I honestly thought we had resolved that issue after I'd done that to you. Whether the issue was resolved regardless, you forced me out of your house. I don't think that's a correct way to treat a situation. I made a mistake and you are correct. I'm only human, you'll make mistakes. This is also another tactic. They're trying to make you feel bad for them so you'll forgive them and try and downplay the situation so it seems more normal. Some more she's getting in trouble over nothing situations. He asked me to put makeup on video call because I wasn't pretty enough. Disparaging looks. That is a very common tactic, so they don't want you to feel like you can do anything without them. You're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not talented enough. It's all very common, and I am not surprised by this at all. He even talked to me about how much of an awful person his ex-wife was and compared me to her. He talked about how I was just like his ex-wife and how I reminded him of her all the time while also saying the most awful things about her. What a nice guy. Yes, she's so awful, then saying she became her. And this goes into more of her depression and everything and what finally made her leave. I have much more proof of the abuse I faced back then, but I have been trying to make this document for a whole year now. I've decided there is no value in putting my time and energy into this anymore. I'm closing this chapter of my life. I've finally been able to come to terms with what happened and would like to move on. This is closure for myself, and I would like to focus on continuing to bring music, art, gaming content to the community, and this is all I wish to do. After these events, I now suffer from depression and increased levels of anxiety and agoraphobia. I struggle to deal with friends and family getting too close to me and often drift myself away in fear of getting hurt again. The home I self-isolate in is my safe space, and VTubing, drawing art, making music, playing games is what I've found enjoyment in. I know how valuable time is, and I won't take up too much of yours. Don't let others judge how you view people. Make judgments on your own terms and by your own experience. Thank you. And that is the end of her document here, and she makes a lot of good points here, and in the very end, this is Froot's story from her point of view, and everything else is just rumors, so I'm going to take it completely as face value of what she's saying at the moment. And that is the thing. I don't know how her saying her piece here, just because there's rumors that she's apparently cheated on this piece of crap, means she's still horrible, but I guess that's just haters, isn't it? No matter what you do, they'll try and find a way to spin it on you. And yet, maybe she did cheat on him in here. But I'm just saying, but is really being cheated on worse than 2 years of being abused? I don't think so. You can doubt her on if she did or didn't cheat, etc. Maybe it was mutual abuse. Maybe she's lying. Who knows? But all we can take is the face value on this and try and understand the situation. And at the very least, this is a personal experience between her and this ex-partner. And should we really hold something when she did when she was 19, maybe, when she was like right on marriage as the be-all end-all of her character? No. But let's go into the next part of this. Some of these people's horrible reactions to this before we do that. I'm glad Froot got a lot of feedback from people and a lot of people supporting her, and she's moving on from this because it seems like she made this document because a lot of people were doing the rumors about it, about her ex and stuff like that. So I think it is probably for the best to just move on from this, and she did want to share these pieces, and that's fine. And I think that's completely fine too, her wanting to just move on, because I think I've heard rumors about this in the past, but I don't really look this stuff up, because in the end, does it really matter? And because it's between her and her ex, realistically, none of us will ever know the truth. And it's not really our place to know. But of course, there are some people on the internet gets caught cheating, husband suddenly abusive. Every time. Gets caught cheating. This is a rumor from 3 to 4 years ago plus. 3 to 4 years ago plus. This stuff is from Facebook. This is how old this is. Like, this is not even the, This also has turned into, obviously, all women bad, all women cheat. Even though it's only rumors, cheats on husband who was on military deployment. It must be an American thing again, because in my country, being in military deployment doesn't mean you get away with everything. Because they keep on bringing this up, like it matters a lot that he's in the military. Husband finds out and leaves her. I'm the victim. They said with the source as trust me bro, because I cannot find any information on this, and that's something you will know from all these points is there is no sources, there's a lot of feelings here. My boyfriend was abusive. I actually didn't want to do it, sorry, ooh, it won't happen again. Women after cheating. Yeah, women are the top reporters for cheating, right? No, it's actually guys, not to disparage my guys, but you know what I do with that information? I still think most men don't cheat, and that's what a sane person does. When you look at everything negatively, you become a negative person, okay? People have their stories. You don't know them. You don't know their lives. This is between her and him, and this is her journey here. And realistically, it doesn't affect any of us. It only affects them. But guys, you live a negative life, you end up a horribly negative, unhappy person. That's all I'm going to say here. People can cheat. Man, woman. People can be abused. Man, woman. Spend your life just picking teams. It's just going to be you're constantly at war here. But I'm glad Froot got to say okay and move on for this. And if you do have any actual proof of that situation, you can let me know. But it better not be my favorite dude bro YouTuber told me so. Truth is screenshots, admittance, or something. Not just my YouTuber that I watched that told me all women cheat said it was true. Which, funny enough, I do have to explain how sources work to a lot more people than I should. But guys, even I am not a reputable source. Only the screenshots we read upon are. I'm just saying things. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching with me. What do you think of this situation? Do you think it just shouldn't have blown up out of anything? Honestly, I don't think it should have, this crazy past her having her say. But for some reason, people really like hating on Froot. For some reason. This is probably going to be a hella long video, and I'll catch you later, my delinquents. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the Patreon. You can get videos early, behind the scenes stuff, things from the React channels, or join our membership if you just want to support. But guys, also, our subathon is happening on Twitch, tomorrow, for some of you. Yay, and merch launch, so that will be launching too. Yay, check that out. Bye-bye.